Lesson number 48 and fourth lesson on the major line segment project. We are learning JavaScript and we are learning JavaScript by examples. In this series, we are trying to recreate this application, which is available on this website here. There is a script page, and if you go down towards the bottom on this page, we have a section called metric units, and these are the two scripts that we are trying to recreate. So what this application does, it has a number of images of this ruler, SVG images, and it has a number of line segments, and there are some input boxes, and students have to indicate what is the length of each line segment. For example, this one is 3 centimeter in length, and every time I refresh this application, you'll notice that the length of the line segment of each line segment changes. So this is what we have done so far. In the last lesson, we learned how to create a line with varying length. So every time I refresh this page now, the length of this line segment changes. So we have to create multiple copies of this div, as is the case in this application here. And we also have to avoid zero length. So I will change the size of my browser, and this is the HTML, JavaScript and CSS code that we have written so far. So this is the piece of code that we added in last lesson. We are generating random numbers from 0 to 20 because the length of the ruler is 20 centimeter. Maximum length is 20 centimeter. So what it means that the maximum length that the application, maximum length of the line should be no more than 20 centimeters, and that is what we are doing in this line of code here. However, we are generating numbers from 0 to 20, and let me show you that. First of all, if you notice, the div is not in the center of the page, so we can fix that very easily. If we go up to this main container, and if I say margin auto, this will bring this div and everything that is within this div in the center of the page. Having done that, I now want to create multiple copies, and I will show you how to do that. It is very easy with the help of for loop, and we have done it multiple times. For var I is equal to 0, semicolon, I is less than, say for example you want to create 100 copies just for learning, and I will say I plus plus, an opening curly bracket and a closing curly bracket, so everything is enclosed within this for loop. So if I save it and refresh this, we have 100 copies of this div, means 100 lines and 100 rulers. I also want to show you the random number that is created here. Okay, so I will say segment container inner HTML is equal to, and then I will copy this and paste it here. So if I save it and refresh it, we have the numbers that have been created by the random number method, and these numbers have been rounded, and the numbers that are generated are from 0 to 20. And if I scroll down, we should have somewhere a 0 length, and we want to avoid that. So we do not want anything, we do not want application to generate 0. So there are multiple ways to do that, and you can slightly modify this line of code and avoid generating 0. But for this lesson, I do not want to modify this, just want to show you that we can also use if condition. If I say if, and then opening and closing curly bracket, and if I say if var length is equal to 0, and I will assign it a length that this line of code will not create. Okay, so I will say var length is equal to 1.5, for example. So every time the application generates a 0, it will be replaced by 1.5. So if I save it and maximize this and refresh this, you'll notice that the random numbers are generated 18 centimeter, and the length of this line is 18 centimeter. This one is 7, and the length of the line is 7, and we should have 1.5 somewhere. Okay, so this is where the application generated 0, and that was replaced by 1.5. No other number is in decimal. And let me see if we have one more. No, that was the only one. So let me refresh it one more time and see if I have. Okay, so one more time, 0 was generated here, which has been replaced by 1.5. So I will go back to the text editor and I will change the number of the rulers to 5. I just want to create 5 copies. So if I save it and maximize it and refresh it, we now have 5 copies, as is the case with this application. I think application has 4. I have created 5 copies, but that's okay. So we have learned how to avoid 0 simply with the help of this if condition. So that is it for today. Thank you very much, and I hope you learned something. I will see you in the next lesson.